The battlefield was silent, but the silence was heavy, like the world itself was holding its breath. Charred wrecks of alien war machines and scorched earth stretched as far as the human scout could see. Smoke twisted into the sky in dark ribbons, carrying the scent of fire and something far more sinister: fear. The human moved cautiously, weapon raised, eyes scanning the horizon for any movement. Every step crunched over the broken ground, each sound echoing through the emptiness. Somewhere in the distance, a faint, trembling sound reached his ears. At first, he thought it was the wind, whispering through the ruined landscape. Then he realized it was a voice, soft, almost pleading. The voice made him stop, heart thudding in his chest. It was unlike anything he had heard before. "Please, don't kill me, human." The words were almost desperate, filled with a raw, unfamiliar emotion. The scout froze, scanning the ground ahead. Kneeling amidst the wreckage was an alien. Its armor was cracked and dented, its skin bruised and torn, revealing strange, pale scales beneath. Its hands were raised in surrender, eyes wide with a fear so intense it was almost human. The alien's gaze locked onto him, and in that moment, the battlefield seemed to vanish, leaving just the two of them. The human's finger twitched near the trigger, unsure whether to fire or speak. There was something in the alien's eyes, a mixture of terror and pleading, that made him hesitate. Every instinct screamed danger. This creature was an enemy, a warrior bred for battle. Yet the voice, trembling and raw, held a strange honesty. I can be your ally," the alien said, voice breaking with emotion. "I can help you, if you spare my life." The scout's mind raced. Every battle he had fought, every story he had heard about aliens and their relentless ways, told him to kill first and ask questions later. But here, kneeling and vulnerable, the alien seemed different. He could see the injuries, the ragged breathing, the desperation that wasn't acting. It was real. And somehow, against all logic, he wanted to believe it. But could he? "Why should I trust you?" he asked, voice low but firm, cutting through the eerie silence. The alien flinched, and for a moment, the scout thought it might attack. But it stayed down, pressing its palms together in a gesture that looked almost like begging. "Because we have a common enemy," it said. "A greater threat than you know. Kill me, and you will face it alone." The words hung in the air like a warning, chilling and strange. The human lowered his weapon slightly, but his guard remained. Every muscle in his body was tense, ready to react. The alien was bleeding, clearly weak, yet it spoke with urgency and intelligence. The scout noticed its eyes flicking towards something behind the ruins. "They're coming," the alien said, a shadow of fear creeping into its tone. "If you don't move, you'll be trapped. We can survive together." The wind shifted, carrying the distant sound of engines and a low, humming vibration that made the ground tremble under their feet. The scout realized that whatever the alien was warning him about was not a bluff. The battlefield was no longer empty. Shadows moved between the wreckage, shapes too fast and sharp to be just debris. He glanced back at the alien, whose pleading gaze met his. There was no hesitation now, no fear of him. It was a plea born out of desperation, an offer of an alliance that might be the only way to survive. He took a step forward, keeping his weapon aimed but steady. "Talk," he said. "Explain, fast. I don't have time for games." The alien's chest rose and fell rapidly, each breath labored. "We were sent to destroy your fleet," it admitted, voice trembling. "But when I saw your people, your courage, I realized killing you would bring nothing but death. There is someone hunting us, stronger than both our races. If I die here, you will have no chance." Its words were simple, but the weight behind them was enormous. The scout's mind whirled. Could he trust an alien that had come to kill his kind? Every story he had heard warned of deception, of enemies who wore false faces. Yet here it was, broken and vulnerable, offering truth in the face of death. The engines drew closer, the shadows between the ruins sharpening, and he knew he had to make a choice. Hesitation could mean death. Action, unknown consequences. The alien's gaze remained locked on him, desperate, honest, and frighteningly calm for someone in its position. Then, without warning, a bright flare exploded on the horizon, throwing jagged light across the ruins. The shadows moved faster, faster than human reaction should allow, cutting through the broken battlefield like knives. The scout barely had time to react. He fired, taking down one of the approaching figures, but there were more. The alien moved swiftly, surprising him with its speed, pulling him behind a crumbling wall, out of the line of fire. "You see," the alien whispered, breathless. "Together, we survive. Alone, you die." The human's heart pounded in his chest, adrenaline burning through his veins. The plea, the promise, the terrifying reality of what was coming, it all pressed down on him. He realized, with a mix of fear and strange hope, that this fragile, wounded creature might just be the only chance he had. The sun dipped lower, shadows stretching like fingers across the battlefield. Smoke curled in the wind, and the strange trembling voice repeated once more, "Please, don't kill me. I can be your ally." And for the first time that day, the human felt a strange, undeniable certainty. Survival would depend on trusting the impossible. The battlefield had shifted since the human made his choice. The alien, still on its knees but alive, had become more than just a strange pleading figure. It was now a potential ally, a fragile bridge between survival and death. Every movement the human made was careful, his weapon never leaving his side. The alien, despite its injuries, moved with cautious precision, scanning the horizon as if it could sense danger the way humans could not. Each breath it took was deliberate, controlled, as though conserving energy for some desperate moment that might come at any second. 4 hours, they moved through the ruins together, the human keeping close to the alien, unsure whether to trust it completely or prepare for betrayal. The silence between them was tense, broken only by the occasional distant rumble of engines or the soft crunch of debris beneath their feet. Then it happened. A sudden sharp whine of energy weapons cut through the air, and from behind a fallen tower, a group of alien soldiers emerged. They were massive, armed with weapons that glowed with deadly energy, moving with a terrifying speed that made the human's blood run cold. Without a moment's hesitation, the alien warrior lunged forward, throwing itself between the human and the attacking soldiers. In a blur of motion, it twisted and ducked, its alien form a strange mixture of grace and power. Energy blasts struck the ground, sending sparks and chunks of concrete flying in all directions, but the alien seemed almost untouchable, dodging with uncanny precision. The human, stunned, could only watch as the alien fought with desperation and skill, each movement telling him that this creature truly wanted to survive, but also wanted him to survive. After a tense few minutes that felt like an eternity, the alien led the human through a narrow corridor of rubble, away from the attackers. Both were breathing heavily, the human's heart pounding with fear and adrenaline, the alien's chest rising and falling with the strain of its injuries. "I saved you," the alien said, voice low and urgent, "because we have a chance to survive together. But there are more coming. Stronger. Smarter. They won't stop until one of us is dead." The human swallowed hard, the reality of their situation pressing down like a stone. Every instinct screamed to distrust it, yet the proof was right in front of him. The alien had risked everything to save him. "Why me?" the human asked finally, his voice almost a whisper. "Why not leave me to die?" The alien's eyes met his, haunted and sincere. "Because you are different," it said. "Your people, you fight not just for survival, but for something else. Courage, honor. I sensed it. And now, you and I have a chance. Alone, you will die. Alone, I will die. Together, we might survive." The human considered the words. It was insane, trusting an alien that had once come to kill him. But survival had a strange way of forcing impossible choices. They moved again, this time toward a partially destroyed building that the alien claimed would offer temporary shelter. The human kept watch while the alien tended to its wounds, using strange alien methods that were both fascinating and unnerving. As it worked, it spoke softly, explaining a little about its kind. "We are warriors," it said. "Trained from birth to fight, to conquer, to obey. But not all of us are the same. Some of us see reason. Some of us see the value in life beyond killing. I am one of those. The human listened carefully, noting the exhaustion behind its words, the truth hidden beneath the alien's fear. Suddenly, a loud crash outside made both of them jump. The human grabbed his weapon instinctively, heart hammering, as the alien rose to its feet. Its eyes scanned the darkness outside the broken walls. "They are testing us," it said, voice tense. "Trying to see if we will flee or fight. We need to move." The human nodded, and together they slipped out through a hidden passage, moving silently across the rubble-strewn street. Every shadow could hide death, every sound could signal the approach of more attackers. And yet, despite the danger, the human felt a strange confidence. The alien was unpredictable, yes, but it had proven its loyalty in a moment that could have ended in his death. Hours passed, each moment stretching long and tense, until they finally found temporary safety in a collapsed structure. The alien leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. "You see now," it said, voice quiet, "why I begged for your mercy. Alone, we are prey. Together, we are stronger. But there is something you must understand. There is a force hunting me, hunting anyone who knows the truth. And if it finds us—" Its words trailed off, leaving a heavy silence. The human nodded, understanding the threat even without knowing its full magnitude. Survival required trust. Survival required courage. And survival required decisions that would haunt him for the rest of his life. As night fell, the alien and the human sat together in the shadows, listening to the distant sounds of engines, the occasional crackle of energy weapons, and the hum of a battlefield that refused to sleep. Neither spoke much, but the unspoken bond between them grew stronger with every passing moment. The alien's presence was a constant reminder of both danger and possibility, of the fine line between life and death. And when the human finally looked into the alien's eyes, he saw not just fear, but a strange, flickering hope, the same hope that he carried within himself. "Tomorrow," the alien whispered finally, "we strike first. We survive first. And then, maybe we can change everything." The human nodded, tightening his grip on his weapon. Tomorrow could bring death, destruction, or something beyond imagination. But for the first time since the battle began, he felt the faint stirrings of trust, of an alliance forged in desperation and danger. And in that trust, however fragile, lay the first spark of survival. The night was cold, but the collapsed building offered shelter from the distant fires and the occasional flare of alien engines searching for survivors. The human sat across from the alien, his weapon resting on his knees, mind racing. Trusting this creature was still impossible, yet the events of the day had changed something deep inside him. The alien had saved his life more than once, proving skills that went beyond instinct, skills born from knowledge, strategy, and something almost like loyalty. But knowledge alone was not enough to erase doubt. The alien broke the silence, its voice low, almost reluctant. "There are things you need to know," it said. "Things that explain why I begged for your mercy." The human leaned forward, ears straining, heart pounding. He could feel the tension coiling in the shadows around them, a subtle warning that time was short and danger never far away. "Why me?" he asked again, though he already knew part of the answer. "Why not just let me die?" "Because not all humans are the same," the alien replied, its tone carrying something heavier than words. "Your people, you fight with heart. You fight for survival, yes, but also for each other. My race, we were bred for war. Obedience. Conquest. But I see value beyond that. I see what could happen if two different species, if we, learned to survive together. I begged because I knew that if you killed me, both of us would be lost." Its gaze held his, unblinking, revealing a depth of honesty that startled him. For a moment, he forgot the surrounding chaos, the war raging just beyond the walls. They were alone in this fragile bubble of truth. The human's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean by that? Who is hunting you? And why?" The alien took a deep, trembling breath, as if drawing courage from the human's very presence. "We were part of a mission to conquer new worlds," it explained. "But not all of us agreed. Some of us saw death and destruction everywhere we went. Some of us wanted peace. I am one of those. But now, another faction of my people considers me a traitor. They hunt me because I refuse to follow orders. If they find me, your world, your people, they will see no difference between us. All will die. The human's grip on his weapon tightened. Every instinct screamed danger. This was bigger than a battlefield, bigger than any skirmish he had faced. So you're saying your people, your own allies, want me dead too? He asked. The alien nodded solemnly. Yes. And they will not stop. That is why I need you. Not just to survive but to fight. To survive together. The weight of the words pressed down like iron. The human realized that trust was no longer optional, it was the only way to survive. Hours passed as the alien spoke, revealing fragments of its past. Battles fought, worlds conquered, and a hidden truth about its species. They were not all monsters, not all cold and ruthless. Some, like this one, carried the seeds of something greater: loyalty, courage, and an understanding that survival did not require the death of others. The human listened, absorbing every detail, feeling a mixture of fear, disbelief, and an odd sense of respect. The alien's words painted a picture of a galaxy far larger, far more dangerous, than he had imagined. Suddenly, the air shifted. The sound of movement outside the collapsed building caused both to tense. Shadows flickered across the broken walls. The alien's eyes narrowed, muscles coiling. They are close, it whispered. The ones hunting me. You need to be ready. The human raised his weapon, scanning the darkness. There was no sound except for the soft crunch of debris under unseen feet, but the tension was enough to make his heart race. Then, from the darkness, a figure emerged, moving with terrifying speed. The human fired instinctively, but the alien was faster, grabbing his arm and pulling him behind a wall as the blast struck the floor where he had been moments before. They test me, the alien said quietly, voice trembling but firm. They want to see if I will fight, if I will run, if I will betray. The human swallowed hard. Every lesson he had learned about survival flashed before him. This was no ordinary enemy. These were beings who could anticipate, who could strike with lethal precision, and they would not stop until the alien, or he, was dead. He realized, in that instant, that the alien's plea had not been desperation alone, it had been truth. Trusting it might be the only chance for life. They moved through the shadows, careful, silent, their bond growing with every step. The alien whispered strategies, pointing out hidden dangers, explaining how the enemy hunted in patterns, how they used terrain, how they anticipated instinct. The human followed, amazed at its intelligence, at the clarity of thought even under exhaustion. For the first time, he felt the spark of hope, not blind hope, but calculated, dangerous hope. Eventually, they reached another ruined building, higher and more defensible. The alien gestured to a narrow ledge. We rest here, it said. Tomorrow we strike, or they will find us. You must trust me. The human nodded, exhaustion pulling at his limbs, but awareness keeping him alert. He could feel the weight of the decision he had made, trusting a former enemy, relying on it to survive, and perhaps, to save countless lives. As they settled in the shadows, the alien spoke softly once more. I may be the last of my kind to see reason, it admitted. But if you give me a chance, I will not fail. We will survive. And maybe, together, we can change everything. The human looked at the alien, a strange mix of fear, respect, and growing trust reflected in his eyes. Outside, the faint hum of engines and distant flares reminded him that the galaxy was far from quiet, that danger was never far, and that tomorrow could bring death, destruction, or something beyond imagination. And yet, for the first time, he believed they might live. The morning light was weak, filtered through clouds of smoke that hung low over the ruined city. The human and the alien crouched among the rubble, every sense alert. The alien's words from the night before still echoed in his mind. There is a force hunting me, and they will not stop. That force was now very real. From the shadows, figures emerged, sleek and deadly, moving faster than the eye could follow. The human tensed, weapon at the ready, but this time he noticed something terrifying. The hunters didn't just move toward the alien, they moved toward him too. "They know I'm with you," the alien said quietly, voice tight with tension. "They think anyone allied with me is a traitor. That includes you." The human's heart sank. He had known danger would follow the alien, but he hadn't imagined that by trusting it, he'd be marked as a target as well. Every instinct screamed to run, to abandon the fragile alliance, but a strange determination held him in place. If he left the alien now, they both would die. Survival required trust, and now, more than ever, the alien needed him. The first wave of hunters struck without warning. Energy blasts lit up the broken streets, sparks flying as walls crumbled under precise, deadly fire. The alien moved first, a blur of motion, guiding the human behind overturned vehicles and shattered concrete. Its agility was incredible, almost impossible to follow, yet it made sure he stayed safe. The human fired as he could, taking down one hunter after another, but more kept coming, relentless and organized. Panic clawed at him, but the alien's presence was steady, almost calm, and somehow that steadied him too. "They're testing us," the alien said, breathless but controlled. "They want to see if we fight, if we run, if I'll betray you. Do not falter." The human nodded, though every muscle screamed exhaustion. He realized the alien's words were more than reassurance, they were strategy. The hunters were predictable in their patterns, and the alien knew exactly how to use that against them. Step by step, they moved, fighting and dodging, inching toward the relative safety of a partially collapsed skyscraper. Each moment was tense, each second a gamble between life and death. Inside the building, they paused briefly, pressing against a cracked wall. The human's chest heaved, his hands slick with sweat from both fear and effort. The alien leaned against him, eyes scanning every shadow. "They won't stop," it said softly. "Not until one of us is dead. And they are close. Closer than before." The human swallowed hard, realizing that the city itself had become a trap. There was no retreat, no safe path. Every street, every ruined alley, held death in waiting. Yet, against all odds, he felt a strange surge of confidence. The alien had proven its loyalty repeatedly. Perhaps together, they could survive anything. A sudden noise broke the brief silence, a low, almost mechanical hum, followed by a flash of movement in the corner of his vision. The human spun, weapon raised, but before he could act, the alien grabbed his arm. "Wait," it hissed. "It's not what you think." A figure stepped out from the shadows. Another alien, unlike any they had faced before, its armor sleek and dark, energy blades flickering in its hands. Its eyes locked on the alien warrior, hatred burning across its face. "Traitor," it hissed in a language the human barely understood. The human's blood ran cold. This was more than a fight, it was a personal vendetta, and he was caught in the middle. The battle erupted instantly. The new alien moved with terrifying speed, attacking without hesitation. The alien warrior leaped in front of the human, deflecting blows with precise, almost inhuman movements. Sparks flew as energy blades clashed, filling the ruined building with flashes of light and smoke. The human fired whenever he could, but he knew that his presence was secondary. The alien warrior was the target, and his survival depended on its skill. Each second stretched into eternity as they fought, the building trembling under the intensity of the attack. Finally, the alien whispered urgently, "We need to escape, now." It grabbed the human's arm, pulling him toward a hidden stairwell. They raced through narrow passages, debris falling around them, until they emerged onto a rooftop overlooking the city. The hunters paused at the base of the building, scanning for any sign of their prey. The alien took a deep breath, injuries evident, yet its stance was steady, prepared for the next wave. "They will not give up," it said. "Not until they get what they want. We must move fast, or they will surround us." From the rooftop, the human could see the city sprawled below, shadows moving like predators through the ruins. The alien pointed toward a distant structure, partially hidden by smoke and twisted metal. "That way," it said. "It's a temporary shelter. There we can plan our next move, and maybe strike first. But we must be careful. Every step could be a trap. The human nodded, understanding the truth in its words. Survival required action, strategy, and absolute trust, and he was learning that the alien was more than a companion. It was a guide, a shield, and a warning all at once. As they descended toward the distant building, the alien glanced at him, voice soft but firm. You see now, don't you? Trust is not weakness. Trust is survival. And betrayal can come from anyone, even from your own kind. The human's heart pounded, the weight of their journey pressing down, yet a strange determination burned in him. The city was dangerous, the enemies relentless, and the threat constant, but together they had a chance. A small chance, yes, but enough to fight, to survive, and perhaps to turn the tide. The rooftop wind tugged at their clothing, carrying the faint scent of fire, metal, and danger. Below, the hunters began to move again, their patterns deliberate, calculating, relentless. The human tightened his grip on his weapon, his eyes meeting the alien's. There was no turning back. Trust had been tested, battles had been fought, and a fragile alliance had been forged in the heart of destruction. The city waited below, filled with shadows and danger, and somewhere out there, death was hunting them. But for the first time, they moved with purpose, together, ready to face whatever came next. The city had become a maze of shadows and broken walls, each alley and ruined building hiding danger that could strike at any moment. The human and the alien moved cautiously, every sense alert. They knew the hunters were close, relentless, and highly intelligent. The alien had guided him so far, but now the tests were getting harder, more personal. It wasn't just about survival, it was about trust, loyalty, and making decisions that could cost them both their lives. The alien paused, its gaze scanning the streets below. They've set traps, it whispered. Every corridor, every doorway could hide death. We must move carefully, step by step. One mistake, and it's over. The human nodded, heart pounding, adrenaline sharpening his senses. They pressed forward, weaving through the broken cityscape, stepping lightly over twisted metal and shattered concrete. Each moment stretched long and tense, the air thick with anticipation. Without warning, a sharp crack echoed from above. Debris rained down from a partially collapsed building, forcing them to dive for cover. The human barely had time to react, but the alien was already shielding him, twisting its body in impossible ways to deflect falling metal with its armored limbs. Sparks flew, smoke filled the air, and for a brief moment, the battlefield seemed to shrink to just the two of them, their survival hanging by the thinnest thread. They are testing more than our skill, the alien said, voice low but tense. They want to see if we trust each other, if we can survive together. The human's mind raced. Every step had been a lesson in trust, yet now he realized the challenge was deeper. It wasn't just the hunters, they were testing him and the alien, trying to break their bond, trying to force betrayal. He glanced at the alien, breathing hard, blood streaked across its armor. Despite the injuries, it moved with confidence, alertness, and precision. Every instinct screamed that the alien was the key to survival, yet every doubt whispered caution. Suddenly, a blinding light flashed from the end of the alley, followed by the unmistakable hum of advanced alien weaponry. The human fired, heart hammering, but his shots barely slowed the approaching enemy. The alien leaped forward, striking with speed and precision that defied belief. Its movements were fluid, powerful, almost dance-like, deflecting energy blasts while guiding the human behind cover. "Keep moving," it shouted. "Don't stop. Trust me." They ran through the alley, twisting and turning to avoid the traps and ambushes set at every corner. The hunters were relentless, adapting, learning, and anticipating their movements. The human realized the alien had been right, trust was not optional. Survival depended on it. One wrong move, one hesitation, and both would die. The alien glanced at him, eyes locking in a brief, intense stare. "You must act now," it whispered. "Decide. Trust me completely, or this is the end." A massive energy trap triggered beneath their feet, sending a surge of fire and sparks across the street. The human froze for a split second, but the alien didn't. It grabbed him, pulling him through a narrow side passage just as the trap detonated. Heat and energy scorched the walls behind them, smoke curling into the sky, but they were alive. The human gasped, adrenaline flooding through him. Every second had been a test, every movement a lesson in survival. The alien had not failed him once, and now, the weight of trust pressed heavily upon him. As they caught their breath in a small hidden alcove, the alien whispered urgently, "We cannot stay here. The enemy will not give up. They want me, and they want you. But we can turn this to our advantage. There is a hidden base nearby, one they think is abandoned. We can use it as a trap, strike first, or we die trying." The human nodded, fear mingling with determination. The ultimate test was here, not just to survive, but to act, to fight strategically, and to rely fully on a being that had once come to kill him. They moved swiftly, shadows blending with shadows, avoiding patrols and traps with the alien's guidance. The base loomed ahead, partially hidden behind a collapsed overpass and twisted metal. Inside, it was silent, eerily quiet except for the faint hum of machinery. The alien paused, placing a hand on the human's shoulder. "This is it," it said. "We decide now. Fight together, or die apart." The human's heart pounded. Every lesson of trust, courage, and instinct coalesced in that moment. He knew the alien would not betray him. And he knew survival required complete faith in the alien's skill and judgment. The enemy appeared suddenly, a wave of advanced hunters flowing through the base with deadly precision. Energy blasts cut through the shadows, sparks flying as the alien moved with blinding speed, deflecting attacks while positioning the human strategically. The human fired relentlessly, covering angles the alien could not reach. Each movement was a dance of life and death, every second stretched thin by danger and adrenaline. And through it all, the alien's voice guided him, whispering strategy, urging action, demanding trust. Hours, or maybe minutes, passed in a blur of fire, shadow, and strategy. Slowly, the human realized they were gaining the upper hand. The alien's skill, intelligence, and courage had turned the tide, and their enemies faltered, unsure of how to counter such unpredictable, united force. The human's heart raced with fear and excitement, each successful strike a testament to trust and alliance. And then, in a final climactic moment, the alien faced the last hunter, energy blade crackling, eyes steady and unwavering. The human hesitated for only a heartbeat, and then fired, striking the hunter down, the danger finally ending. Breathing heavily, adrenaline still coursing, the human looked at the alien, whose armor was scorched and body battered, yet whose eyes held that same flicker of determination and trust. They had survived. Together. The ultimate test had been passed, but the city, the galaxy, and the threats beyond still awaited. And as the alien whispered once more, "This is only the beginning," the human understood that survival was not a single battle. It was a series of choices, tests, and moments of trust that could decide life or death for them both. The sky above the ruined city was streaked with smoke and fire, a chaotic canvas reflecting the violence below. The human and the alien crouched behind a shattered wall, their bodies tense, weapons ready, breaths shallow. Every instinct screamed danger. Every shadow could hide death. The alien's words from the night before echoed in his mind. This is only the beginning. Now, the beginning had become the climax. The ultimate test, the one that would decide life or death for both of them, had arrived. "They're stronger than anything we've faced," the alien whispered, voice low but steady. Its armored hands clenched into fists, energy scars across its body glowing faintly under the dim sunlight. "If we fail, both our worlds will pay the price. You must trust me. Completely." The human nodded, heart hammering, sweat running down his temple. He had learned to trust this alien, to follow its instincts, and now there was no choice but to rely on it fully. Hesitation here meant death. From the ruins below, a wave of hunters advanced, their movements precise and coordinated. Energy weapons hummed, a deadly rhythm that filled the air with tension. The alien crouched beside the human, scanning for weaknesses, analyzing attack patterns. "We strike together," it said, voice urgent. "I will engage them directly. You cover the flanks. One wrong move, and we die. The human's fingers tightened on the trigger. Every step, every decision, carried the weight of survival. The battle erupted with a sudden, blinding flash. Energy beams cut through the streets, throwing sparks and debris into the air. The alien moved like a phantom, twisting and dodging with impossible agility, striking hunters down with precision and strength that defied belief. The human fired at every angle, covering the alien, reacting to the threats that it could not see. Together, they were a deadly, synchronized force, a strange alliance forged in desperation, fear, and trust. The enemy responded with cunning. Hunters emerged from shadows, traps activated underfoot, and explosions shattered the remaining walls. The human's chest pounded, every sense heightened by the adrenaline of survival. He glanced at the alien, which fought without hesitation, even when injured, even when outnumbered. Its movements were deliberate, controlled, and deadly, proving its loyalty in the most undeniable way. In that moment, the human realized that this alien, once his enemy, had become something far greater, a partner, a guide, and a symbol of hope. Amid the chaos, one of the hunters managed to get close to the human. Its energy blade glowed as it swung, aiming to strike him down. Instinctively, the alien leaped, intercepting the blow, taking the full force of the strike on its arm. Sparks flew, armor scorched, but the alien didn't falter. It shouted urgently, "Move! Now!" The human fired, taking the hunter down, and for a brief moment, the world seemed suspended, hanging between life and death. They advanced together, step by step, using strategy and instinct. The alien's knowledge of the enemy's patterns, combined with the human's determination and skill, allowed them to push forward through overwhelming odds. One by one, hunters fell, energy weapons depleted, their advance slowed. Every movement was tense, calculated, a balance of trust and survival. Finally, they reached the central hub of the enemy force, a large open plaza surrounded by shattered buildings. The last wave of hunters awaited them, organized and ready to strike. The alien glanced at the human, eyes locking in a silent moment of understanding. "This is it," it said. "We end this now, or we die trying. Trust me fully." The human nodded, adrenaline surging, and together they charged into the fray. The battle was fierce, every second stretched by danger. Energy blasts, explosions, and the clash of weapons filled the air. The human moved with precision, following the alien's lead, firing, dodging, striking. The alien fought with unmatched skill, a blur of motion, strength, and strategy. And then, in the final heart-stopping moment, the last hunter fell, energy blade sparking as it hit the ground. Silence settled over the plaza, broken only by their heavy breathing. The human lowered his weapon, scanning the battlefield. The alien approached, armor battered, body injured, yet standing tall. Its eyes met his, filled with relief, exhaustion, and a strange, quiet pride. "We survived," it said softly. "Together." The human nodded, a mix of disbelief and respect washing over him. The impossible alliance had worked, the enemy defeated, and for the first time in days, the chaos around them seemed to pause. But there was more than relief in the air. The human realized that the choice he had made, to trust the alien, to fight alongside it, to believe in something beyond instinct and fear, was more than survival. It was a new beginning. The alien, once an enemy, had proved its loyalty, its courage, and its willingness to sacrifice for the greater good. And in that proof lay a message: humanity had the power to choose allies wisely, even when faced with the unimaginable. The alien stepped closer, voice calm now, almost weary. "You spared me," it said. "And by doing so, you've changed everything. Our survival depends on trust, not fear. Your people, your courage, it gives me hope." The human's gaze softened, understanding that this moment marked not just the end of a battle, but the beginning of something larger. The alien was no longer simply a survivor, it was a partner, an ally, and a symbol of what could happen when trust overcame fear. As the smoke cleared, the city lay in ruins, but a faint light of possibility shone through. The human and the alien stood together, battered but unbroken, looking out over the remnants of the battlefield. Somewhere beyond, the galaxy waited, full of unknown threats and challenges. But for now, they had survived. They had fought together, trusted each other, and emerged victorious. And in that victory, a fragile yet powerful alliance had been forged, one that could change the course of history. The alien's voice broke the silence one last time. We fight together. We survive together. And maybe, one day, the galaxy will understand what this means. The human nodded, heart steady, mind focused, ready for whatever came next. The battle had ended, but the story was far from over. And in that understanding, he felt something stronger than fear or adrenaline. He felt hope.